All right. Hey, everybody. Sorry, we're running a little bit late. The previous session ran late. It looks like attendees are just joining, so I'll give people a few seconds to settle in. And we'll get started. All right, let's get going. Hello, and welcome to GOAT 2 webinar. My name is Sergey Katsev. I'm a 2006 BS/MS graduate in computer engineering from RIT, and I'm a member of the Alumni Association Board of Directors and your moderator this evening. Before I introduce our speaker, there are a few housekeeping points. I'll go over them quickly. We can get to the farm because that's what I want as well. So all attendees are currently in mute mode. However, your questions can be entered into the Q&A box at any point in the discussion. We'll try to address all your comments and questions throughout the webinar. The webinar is being recorded and made available in the upcoming weeks. A communication with how to access the recordings will be sent out and also posted to our website. If you have any technical questions, ask them in the chat box and we'll try to get to those as well. We would like to thank our premier sponsor, Sharp Notions, as well as our Tiger sponsor, Rochester General Health, for helping make this week's programming possible. We also would like to thank our Access Services teams for helping us make this webinar accessible for all of our alumni. Real-time captioning is available within the webinar, and our interpreters will be spotlighted during the presentation. The pandemic has had a major impact on everyone, including our students. We thank all of our alumni and friends for the support you have given our students during these uncertain times. If you're interested in supporting or continuing your support, please make sure to mark your calendars for this year's Roar Day, which is tomorrow. We will have giving challenges, an alumni scavenger hunt, and more. So please consider making a gift to support students who need it now more than ever. And if you can't wait for Roar Day, you can make a gift right now by visiting rit.edu/roar, and your gift will be counted towards the Roar Day total and help RIT achieve our $1.5 million goal. Now on to our session. We are so pleased to welcome Sandra Lawrence, who works for Sweet Farm. Sweet Farm is owned by RIT alumna Anna Sweet, and Anna and her co-founder, Nate Salpeter, fulfill their dream of buying land and dedicating it to the pursuit of ending inhumane factory farming practices. Both longtime animal advocates and volunteers at local rescues, they wanted to find a way to maximize their impact and educate people on how to live more compassionate and sustainable lives. The couple still works full-time in tech, Anna is an RIT alum, but dedicates evenings and weekends to working with the animals of Sweet Farm and helping spread their message. Meanwhile, Sandra's hope is that Sweet Farm will help educate the world about animal welfare and how making small changes in your life can make big impacts in the lives of animals, the environment, and one's health. Sandra, thank you so much for joining us. The audience is all yours.
Wonderful. Thank you guys so much for having me today. My name is Sandra, and I'm the Director of Development and Outreach here at the Sweet Farm Foundation, located in Half Moon Bay, California. And we're home to 140 rescued farm animals. They come from all sorts of different circumstances and situations, rescued from factory farming, abuse, neglect, animal testing, all sorts of situations, and they've all been rescued and rehabilitated and will get to live their lives out here to educate and inspire folks to live more compassionately and sustainably. But obviously you're not here to see me, so I'm going to go ahead and turn my camera around. And we'll go ahead and get started with introducing you to some of our residents here. And so we're up top at our upper pasture. It's that time of the late afternoon where our goats are getting ready to be let into the barn to have their dinner and get settled in and nestled in for the night. So this lovely lad here who is debating on whether he wants to lay down or not, this is Butterscotch. And Butterscotch is a male goat that was rescued from the dairy industry. As a male goat, he is considered a byproduct of dairy. He doesn't produce milk, nor do they want him drinking his mother's milk. So he was going to be sold for meat. And luckily for him, a young family rescued him and his brother Brownie, who we have as well, raised him in their backyard for a few years until a mountain lion had moved into the neighborhood and unfortunately attacked Butterscotch. Luckily for him, he survived his injuries, and the family then realized that he needed to find another place to live. And so they reached out to us and asked us if we would take him in, and we were happy to. And so we brought him out here to live the remainder of his days. And so he is here with a bunch of our other goats. We've got Alfie here, who was a 4-H goat. 4-H is a popular youth leadership program where a young boy or girl will raise a farm animal, show them off at the local county fairs. And then at the end of those programs, those animals get sold at live markets. Luckily for Alfie, that didn't happen. His family wanted to save and rescue him. So they brought him to here to live out the remainder of his days as well. And this gentleman here is Hoover. And Hoover was rescued from a live market. Live markets are still very much a thing here in the United States, also known as wet markets, which we've all heard about lately these days due to the pandemic. And Hoover was Good Samaritan rescued Hoover and then needed to find a forever home for him. So they reached out to us and we were happy to bring him here. That Good Samaritan who went to that live market, went to that market with the purpose of rescuing a goat, not with eating a goat. So Hoover is getting to live out the remainder of his days here at Sweet Farm. And so we're gonna let these guys get on in to the barn, and I'm gonna introduce you to some of our other residents here at Sweet Farm. We've got one of our more elder ladies here. This is Niblets, and Niblets was actually rescued from the goat dairy industry. She was milked for the first about 4 years of her life, and then once she was considered not useful at that dairy, she was then going to be sold at a live market. That's typically what happens at a dairy, whether it be goat or cow. They're milked, and then when they're considered not useful, they are then sold for meat production. But luckily, the woman who purchased her at that market purchased her with the intent of saving her. And so she will get to live out her life here at Sweet Farm. And so we'll let her go into the barn. She's anxious to get in and get her dinner going. So this lovely lady is Stella. Stella is very cautious of people. She was rescued from a petting zoo where unfortunately at that petting zoo, she was fondled and handled so much by people that now even as an adult sheep, she is very afraid of human interaction and engagement. And so we respect that about her, and she will keep her distance from us humans. And so we're still working with her on socialization and those sorts of things here with Sweet Farm. But let me go introduce you to some of our larger rescues here at Sweet Farm. And if anybody happens to have a question, feel free to type it in the comment section and we can go ahead and get that answered. And we can go from there. We've got one of our older residents here following me down the fence line. This is Sturgis. He's our grandpa here at the farm. Let me in, buddy. One second. So Sturgis here is our grandpa here at the farm, who's 37 years old, who is awfully old for a horse. And most average lifespan of a horse is anywhere between 29 to about 30. And Sturgis turned 37 just a few months ago. And so he's our grandpa here at the farm, and he's anxious to get up to go get his dinner as well. And so he was our very first rescue here at Sweet Farm. And he came from a resident in the local area who didn't really have the means to continue to care for him. He had come when a time when California was going through a drought and had a really wet winter. He was going to be euthanized, and the daughter reached out to Nate and Anna Sweet and asked us if we could step in and rescue him and bring him here because she didn't want to have him euthanized. So they rushed out there, met with the vet, met Sturgis, and brought him here to Sweet Farm and brought him in and got him the attention that he needed. And we were happy that we did, because that was back in 2016, and he is now thriving. He's a thriving old stallion at 37. He loves to hang out here with our cow crew. This guy right here is Argyle, and Argyle was rescued from the dairy industry. He is, again, a byproduct of the dairy world because he's a male cow and he doesn't produce milk. And so he's typically would have been sold for veal or for hamburger. But luckily for him, he was born on an educational dairy farm. Now, on this educational dairy farm, they wanted to rescue him and provide a forever home for him somewhere that could educate others about the effects of the dairy industry. And Argyle was able to come here. Now, he is a Jersey steer. He does weigh 2,100 pounds, so he's a very big boy. And he has come a really long way and is very affectionate and loving. And so he is a great addition here at Sweet Farm. Now, as most people know, in the dairy industry, unfortunately, in order for a cow or a goat to continually produce milk, they do have to give birth to a young every year in order for them to continually produce offspring, or continually produce milk. They just don't, they're not like humans where if you continually just milk them, that they will continually produce milk. That's not how it works. And so it's a very big misconception that is in the dairy world.
Hey, Sandra.
Yes.
There is a question here. What is the average lifespan of goats? And while you're at it, I guess all the other animals.
Yeah, that's a great question. So we actually do have a couple of goats down in this area who like to hang out with our big boys. This is Juno. The average lifespan of a goat is anywhere between 14 to about 16 years of age. And most domesticated goats actually live far older than that. And that's mostly because they get the care that that your domesticated cats and dogs do, right? So if Juno here, if she's sick, if she's not feeling well, she gets to go to the vet. And so most animals that end up at sanctuaries live a lot longer than those average lifespans do. So yeah, that's a great question. And cows and steers, their average lifespan is 20 to 25 years of age. So they live an incredibly long life. And it's very unfortunate because we process them at such a young age. Most cows, unfortunately, are slaughtered when they're only about 2. And cows actually don't grow to their full size and full potential until they're about 3.5 to 4 years old. And so we're not even eating a fully grown adult calf. And so you're always eating a baby, really. And so Gizmo here, Gizmo is a miniature, believe it or not, a miniature Hereford steer. And he does weigh just as much as Argyle does here at 2,100 pounds, but he's short and stocky, and he's about 3 feet wide. So he's a very big boy. And he was rescued from 4-H, just like Alfie, one of our goats, was. He was raised by a young girl who, at the end of her program, didn't want to see him sold at auction. She raised him like a dog. She would read to him in the barn. She'd put bows in his ears and so forth. And she didn't want to see him sold at live market. And so she reached out to us, and we were able to help her bring Gizmo to Sweet Farm. And so he is 6 years old, and he has an incredibly long life yet to live. All of our cows here are all under the age of 6. And so all of these guys have a long life to live here at Sweet Farm. Angel, one of our newest rescues, she's only been here for about a month. She was rescued from a beef farm. And at this beef farm, female cows are only given 2 chances to produce viable offspring. And if they do not produce viable offspring, they are then sold for meat production. And luckily for Angel, when she unfortunately didn't produce viable offspring, a Good Samaritan stepped in and rescued her, and was able to step in and negotiate with the beef farmer and say, hey, I want to rescue her, provide a forever home for her. And she came here to Sweet Farm to live out her days with us here. So she's done a great job. And so now these guys are getting their chance to go up the chute and go head on up to the barn and get ready to get let in to have their dinner.
Hey, Sandra, a couple more questions here. So first, do any of these animals like to be cuddled or petted like a cat or a dog might like?
Yeah, so Juno, our goat here, she's a huge affectionate lady. She loves to give kisses and those sorts of things. And so she is definitely a lot more affectionate. And so, yes, we do have some animals that love to be groomed and pet and those sorts of things. But as far as like hugging and kissing, it depends on their mood, just like people. Cows can have those same days, off days, and animals can too. And so there's certain days where they love to be pet, fondled, and handled. And then there's other days where they just want to be left alone. And so it's getting to know your animal and getting to know your farm animal. It's the same, just like your cat and dog at home.
Great, thank you. And the next question, how do you decide whether you will or can rescue an animal? Do you have to turn some people away who contact you for help?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. So there are always farm animals that are needing a home, unfortunately. So yes, it is a difficult decision. Right now here at Sweet Farm, we are actually at capacity for our hooved animals. And we make those decisions in a number of ways. We have to decide, do we have enough barn space for our current residents? Do we have enough animal care team members to take care of those residents? And not only do we want to make sure that our animals get the care they need, but are we being good stewards to the land? We want to make sure that our ambassadors have enough land to graze on, and so forth. So all those factors are taken into consideration. Now, there is a huge network of sanctuaries all across the United States. And so if one sanctuary can't rescue an animal, they reach out to another, and we try to do what we can to find a home. And so these lovely guys are our llamas. This guy here is Paco, one of our most popular ambassadors. And then he is a short-haired llama. And we've got our two long-haired ladies back here, Dolly and Chica. And llamas are known to be the herd protector of the farm community. They're great protectors of the herd. They will alert you if a predator is near, like a coyote or a fox. They will make call sounds and alert somebody if a predator is by. If that predator were to approach the property, they will attack it, they will spit at it, they will do what they can to ward that unwanted predator off. So they will do what they can to protect the herd. And so you will see lots of llamas at farms protecting goat herds, sheep herds, and so forth. So we'll take a little walk up with Paco. He's surveying the fence line.
Do you guys do anything with the llama's fur, I guess it would be? Is that considered sustainable?
Yeah, that's a great question. So here at Sweet Farm, we typically compost our fur. Hi, Bruno. And we will also spread it about the property and let wild birds use it for nesting material and so forth. Hi, Bruno, you want a butt scratch, don't you? Yeah, you do. Goats love a good back and butt scratch. It's where their horns can't reach. So when they turn their head left or right, that means they're enjoying it. Yeah. Any other questions?
None right now. I do have one that's from me.
Yeah.
Is there any drama on the farm between the animals? Are there some that just really don't like each other?
Oh, that's a great question. Not necessarily. I mean, just like brothers and sisters fight, we get, and I wouldn't even say they fight, they argue, right? So we get, when it comes to feeding time, you get, sometimes you get a little aggressive, animals pushing other animals out of the way to get feed, those sorts of things. But we don't necessarily have any animals here on the farm that have to be separated or that hate each other, which is great. You know, humans can learn a lot from farm animals, can learn a lot from animals in general. They don't tend to see species. They relatively can get along pretty easily, as long as they, you know, can respect each other. And a lot of these guys tend to do. They respect each other. They respect each other's size. They respect each other's differences. And they seem to know, like, they can read each other's moods. And so they're very intuitive. We could definitely learn a lot from that.
Thank you. A couple more questions here. Do you ever place an animal with a family?
No, we don't. So all of these guys will get to live their life out here at Sweet Farm. There are some sanctuaries that do adopt animals out to loving homes, loving forever homes. But here at Sweet Farm, these guys, this is their forever home.
Okay. And what is your position on activities like goat yoga?
Okay. There are a few organizations out there that are doing it properly. However, there are a lot of organizations out there that are not. And the main reason is goat yoga is mostly used with kids, with baby goats. Baby goats are called kids. And what they do is Juno here has beautiful horns. And in the goat yoga processes, they will burn their horns off from growing. So it's a chemical that they literally pour on the top of their heads where their heads grow. So right here where their horns grow. And it's a process called debudding. They do the same process in cows as well. If you see a steer or something without a horn. And they debud them. And they do it without any sort of pain medicine or any sort of anesthetic or anything. And it's not a very pleasant process. And so what'll happen is that those goats then, after they're done being useful for goat yoga, because they get too big, they are then typically sold at markets for meat production. So just do your research. There are a few animal sanctuaries that do goat yoga quite well with rescued goats, but they're not the baby goats that are jumping all over you. They're adult goats and so forth.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Sounds like Juno has a question.
Yeah, Juno's waiting for her dinner. These guys are set, man, they're like clockwork. They know when it's feeding time.
One more question here. Do you have school classes come to your farm?
Yeah, that's a great question. We have a program called Goat to School. And right now that is specifically done virtually currently. But we are hoping next spring, once things settle down with COVID, that we will be able to resume our on-site programming. But we do offer a Goat to School program that is specific to teachers and educators. You could definitely learn about that on our website at sweetfarm.org.
Thank you. One more from me. Seeing as this farm was started by our IT technology people, what kind of technology do you have in place?
Yeah, well, we're one of the very few farms that were able to pivot our programming so quickly. So when COVID hit in March, we were able to quickly figure out how to pivot our programming to virtual rather quickly, with taking things virtual and having Wi-Fi on the farm and so forth. And also here at Sweet Farm with Anna being a part of everything, we are very supportive of innovative technologies, right? So our animals and us growing fruits and vegetables is a very grassroots type of movement. So we're educating folks at the grassroots level, but then also we strive very hard at supporting innovative companies. So, you know, we support clean meat companies, we support cell-based agriculture, those types of things. Anything that a good company that is working really hard at revolutionizing the food system, because it's so complex and so connected. And so those technologies that are trying to remove animals from the system and have people adopt simple changes that can make a large impact in the lives of animals is incredible. And also in growing our fruits and vegetables. A lot of people don't know that even organic produce have animal inputs in it, like bone meal and fish meal and those sorts of things. And so being able to work with technologies that are removing those inputs is incredible and very rewarding.
Great, thank you. One more from the audience. You mentioned that you're at capacity with long livelihoods. How often are you able to accept a new animal?
Yeah, so it depends on how we are able to grow and expand with building barns, stalls, shuffling animals around, those sorts of things. And so we are able to accept animals as we are able to add additional stalls and shelter. So it's as we continually add shelter and stalls, we can continually start adding more hooved animals, more large guys.
Thank you.
All right, anything else?
That's it for right now. Any last minute questions? All right, so I guess let's wrap up then. Sandra, thank you so much. This was educational and just nice. I know I'm smiling. It was a great great tour and great answers. Thank you. We also want to thank our alumni and our friends today for joining us from their homes. And as I mentioned earlier, we'll send out information on how to access the recording in the near future. Don't forget to make your Roar Day gift by using the link in the chat box. And lastly, if you're not already connected with RIT Alumni Association's social media, we encourage you to do so. That's where we publish events like this one, any kind of actual in-person events someday, etc. So we'd love to see you there. Thank you everyone for coming. Sandra, thank you so much. Have a great night, everybody.
Wonderful. Thank you.